just to be able to afford all that. You know what I'm talking about? You get kids at that age? Well, I began praying for a way and asking God for a way. One night I was in my office late at night. Well, I'm jumping ahead of myself. I had an enormous case that had come into my office where I could have made enough money to pay for my kids' college educations and all that, and set money aside and all this. And there was a very famous attorney named Bob, who had an office, a Taj Mahal of an office. I just had this little office across the street. Bob was down the street in like a Taj Mahal he had built. Bob was a lawyer that made $2 million a year, whether he wanted to or not. On a good year, it could be as much as $5 or $6 million. $1 million a year. Imagine. I can't imagine. It's tough to imagine that. But he was extraordinary. And he was all over TV, and he was a very popular guy. And he did a lot of things, many of us knew he was quite unethical. It was considered by those of us who would meet for coffee in the courthouse coffee shop, where we all gathered to gossip. After the 8:45 a.m. hearings in the morning, we would gossip about Bob. That son of a gun told my latest case. I can't believe it. That son of a gun beat me in the scene of an accident last week, another guy would say. Really? Bob was rumored to have the fastest helicopter in town, and he could make it the scene of any accident way out in the boondocks and sign people up and say, this is all unethical, by the way. Lawyers are not supposed to do this stuff. And he made a fortune doing it. And it angered me that I was living ethically. I was following all the rules, and I was struggling. You know, I was doing good for people and making some money, but I was struggling, getting into the point where most lawyers were making money. And Bob across the street was just adding on to his Taj Mahal and driving his Rolls Royce. And I knew he was doing it unethically. And a whole bunch of us did. We would get in the courthouse and just complain about it. We would pour all this mental energy into how bad Bob was. And we would all leave feeling a little smug, like, I'm holier than thou, but none the richer for it, and none the wiser for it. So there I am in my office, one night, facing the fact that my kids are getting ready for college, and I need to make more money. And I said, okay, God, what would you have me do? You know my situation. What do? I tithe. I follow the law of tithing. I give 10% of my income to where I'm spiritually fed. I follow your law of tithing in Malachi 3:10, I think it is. Bring a tenth into the storehouse and see what blessings I will unfold for you. Pressed down, shaken together, overflowing. And yeah, tithing has helped me, but I've reached a plateau. I do my affirmations. I do my meditation every day. I do some yoga. Something's in the way here. What do I have to do, Lord? And I heard this still small voice. Now, do you know what I mean when I say still small voice? Still small voice is from a Hebrew scripture where, I think it was Isaiah, one of the prophets, was out on a mountaintop and was looking for the presence of God. And then there was an earthquake. It scared the heck out of him and everyone around. And he said, but God was not in the earthquake. And after the earthquake, there was a raging fire came across the land. But he said, God was not in the fire. And then there was an enormous wind that came across the land. But he said the presence of God was not in the wind. And after that, the scripture says, a still small voice. And the implication is clear that was where God was. And that's in the intuition. It can be intuition, a little nudge that you feel, that you know about. It can be a still small voice way down here, not up here, where we think logically and analytically, but down here somewhere in the heart. They say, oh, whoa. Well, as I was sitting in my office this night, it just occurred to me. There was like a still small voice, more than a nudge. You know what it said? You won't want to hear this any more than I did. It said, forgive Bob. I said, Lord, anything but that. He doesn't deserve it. He took my big case. He takes all the cases around here. Forgive Bob. Son of a gun. See, when you ask God things like that, you get answers you might not like. So, but I know that following that still small voice, I know that forgiveness works. I just hadn't tried it in this situation. So I went to my window and I looked down into the Taj Mahal. And I said, Bob, I forgive you. I release you of all the blame I put on you. You must need the money more than I. Psychologically, it must mean something for you that lifts you up or something. I don't know why you do what you do, but I release you, man. I take my energy back. I take my thought energy back from how bad you are, and I put it on the good stuff in my life. I totally release you, and I forgive you, man. I forgive you, Bob. And then the wonderful thing happened. I came to some compassion about Bob, that he must be really suffering at some level if he has to steal and break laws to make money. So I forgave him. I want you to know that within 3 minutes, I had an idea that changed my life. I had the idea that made me so much money. I was able to, I doubled my income within 18 months, and then it became tripled within 2 years to 2.5 years.